welcome to this week's episode of our podcast, Just Us Being Us. I am your host, Adela Relentless, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I am Bugby, and I am wired.
I am Red Rebecca, and I am stir crazy.
And I am actually the one that belongs in this episode.
One of these things is not like the other.
One of these things just doesn't belong.
For the record, Rebecca is still quarantined, so we are.
It's the quarantine that never ends, my dudes.
So Adela and I are at Adela's house, and I was putting this hoodie on, and I was like, "We can match." So we matched.
We matched. Literally same sweater.
But we're talking about sleep deprivation, and this is my favorite hoodie to sleep in, so that's why I wanted to put it on anyway.
And then I just put it on just so that way I could match her, and then we could poke fun at Red Rebecca. We are twinsies. One of these days, all three of us will be matching at some point.
We're gonna make it happen.
Yes, and the only way you can tell us apart is by our hair color.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Only the hair.
Only the hair color.
Yep. God.
That giggle, dude.
I love that giggle.
That giggle gets me every time.
Yep.
I love her giggle. Oh my God. We're not even like 5 minutes into the podcast and I'm already crying.
It was slap
Well,
happy.
you know, it honestly makes sense though, because like I said, we're talking about sleep deprivation, and we're all sleep deprived and delirious.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not want to hear about you.
I'm
sleep
not
deprived.
I'm not sleep deprived. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say you of all people do not get to talk about being sleep deprived.
Yeah, I slept until like 10:30 this morning. It was great.
I got a fun story for this one.
Okay, you can tell it. Go right ahead.
Oh, first?
Yep, go.
Okay, all right.
I'm trying really hard to stop laughing.
3, 2, 1, action.
So normally I am pretty bad about not getting enough sleep, and I took it to a whole new level this past weekend. So
Oh, yeah, you did.
What I really want to know before we continue this story is how, like, what new level is there past not getting sleep?
So
getting even less sleep.
Okay.
So
okay, continue the story.
I went to MegaCon, and I didn't arrive in Orlando until 1 a.m. And that's because my flight was delayed getting there, and I was already in like a full-blown panic attack. Like my arms were sweating. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to go. And then we didn't get to the Airbnb until like 2:30 a.m. But we were all like slap happy. We were all just excited. So we were just like buzzing and talking. Didn't actually get into bed until 3 a.m. And then I probably didn't actually fall asleep until 4 a.m. And then my alarm went off at 6 a.m. So here I am getting ready for this all-day convention, 2 hours of sleep. Everyone in the house, we're all crispy crunchy, right? We're all slap happy. And we're just getting ready for the day. And so we spend, I want to say it's like 10 hours at this convention. We get there at 9:30. We're not on the way back to the car until it was like 12 hours later. 9:30 is when we were leaving. And then we had someone that was like, hey, I have a dinner reservation at Disney. Let's go. We're like, let's go to Disney. Let's keep the party going. Good times going. Let's go. And so we didn't get back to the Airbnb until like 12:30. And I had my alarm set for 3:30 because I had a 7 a.m. flight out of there. So across the span of 2 days, I was rocking off 5 hours of sleep. Again, I was Kentucky Fried Crispy Crunchy, just vibe.
And we wonder why you got the Rona.
I know. What immune system, right?
She literally came back from that con and told us, and like my first initial reaction to that was, if you gave Neil the Rona, I am going to hunt you down myself.
The con gave me the Rona. Like it was chest to back people. Like you have no room to move other than like this. There was a
Waddle
chain
like
of people.
penguins.
I was hanging on to someone's backpack. Someone was hanging on to my backpack. I was like, you got your battle buddies? All right, let's move.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That's like us when we go to concerts.
Yeah, literally. And then I take the Astarian mode of don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
And I create a barrier of myself around her.
She does. She really does.
Nobody touch her. You don't want to piss her off, and I don't want to fight. So let's go. Nobody touch her.
See, I just held on to the tall person because I was like, I can't see, so I'm just trusting that you know where you're going.
See, here's the funnier part about when Bugby has to act as the bodyguard to me. She is shorter than I am. So you can only imagine how hilarious this looks when I am standing in the middle of this like general admission crowd, like right up against the barricade, and then literally she's like behind me, like just as this wall, and I'm like looking around at people like, don't touch me. Like,
I am much stockier than she is, though. I will say that. I got some muscle.
See, and I was just moving through the screens like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Hi. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that is like
someone runs into the back of me. They're just bouncing off my butt. It's fine. Boing.
Someone runs into me and hurts me, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Versus me, she's standing there ready to fight them. I'm standing behind them looking like, you really want to do this? Like,
let's go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great night to go to jail. Let's go.
Yes. So in case you're wondering, that is one of our biggest forms of mental health rejuvenation, is for us to go to a metal concert. We just get all our aggression out in that one night.
We do. It's great.
I give all the death glares I want. I got the bodyguard with me. Like,
yep.
Like, it literally looks like the situation of the mini boss before the boss. It's like what it is.
Pretty much.
See, mine's just exhausting myself, but it's all worth it. Seeing Cinderella's castle at 11 p.m. just sitting there with a pineapple drink crying, going, Cinderella's in there.
That is sleep deprivation right there.
Which is so it's hilarious to me that she describes that as like a new level of sleep deprivation. I'm like, girl, that's my Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I'm lucky to get like 3 hours of sleep a night, if that.
Like,
I was
my Monday through
struggling.
Friday. What do you mean new level?
I was struggling. Because I mean, that was like off the course of like 2 days. It was like 5 hours over 2 days.
I get 5 hours over 5 days, okay? So actually on that note, and this is actually really hilarious. So on that note, there was one night that I was like up, and I think I was reading one of the fanfics that like based off on Astarian. So I was like up reading one of them, and we're texting each other in our group chat, right? And all of a sudden, Rebecca's texting me, and she's like, Adela, go to sleep. And I'm just like,
I read all of these the next morning. I was passed out.
she's like, Adela, go to sleep. And I was like, what? I was like, says you? And she's just like, hey, she's like, I'm sick right now. All I do is lay around and sleep and read. She's like, I can be up late right now. And I'm just like, yeah, well, you know what? This is my happy place right now, and I need it. And she goes, Rebecca's like, yeah, and we talked about this. Get some sleep. And I'm just like, God dang it. I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, and you know what? I stayed up 2 hours later and finished my book.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah, I feel like... Sorry. No. I feel like my sleep cycles are just terrible. Like I will go into a full solid week where I sleep fantastic and I feel amazing. I'm coming off of that week, I'm pretty sure. And then I will go into 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I don't know. And it depends on the time, I guess. Where I will get 2 to 3 hours of sleep every single night. And how I function as a mom and working full time on 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night is questionable, but we're here. So
One
It's
day that
funny 'cause
moment's
she
gonna
has the
hit you.
same. It's funny because she has the same questions about me on how I function.
yeah, I do. I'm not sure how anybody functions on that kind of sleep, but somehow somehow we do. Actually, I function on caffeine. I don't know how you function.
Yeah, I
'Cause
know.
you don't do caffeine.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because literally, she works with me now. For those of
I
you
do.
guys that are new to the podcast, so she got a job at my like company just recently, and so she has now experienced the full set of how my day goes. Like I
Yep.
don't know why I have an office. Like I never see the inside of it.
You have an office with a refrigerator in it, so I can put my drinks in it.
That is the sole reason.
That's why.
That's
Yeah,
it.
apparently so. Because literally, and she's experienced this. Like I will walk back into my office after a meeting and somebody else is pulling me away. And she's just like, oh, okay, there you go again. And then she knows that a slew of people every day like come looking for me in my office, and then they'll ask her and they'll be
Yeah.
like, where is she?
I'm like, I don't
Fuck a
know.
fire.
She had this conversation with somebody the other day where she's like,
Wait, hold on. I want to tell it. It was so
tell
funny.
it. You can tell it.
So one of our sales guys was looking for her because he needed business cards, I think. And it was towards the end of the day and he needed to leave. And he's like, I've got to get business cards. And he, of course, knows that her and I are best friends. So he's walking around. My desk is right outside her office, by the way. And
Which is a very dangerous thing.
I don't know why they put me there. It was stupid. I don't know what they were thinking.
It was not
But
a good
anyway.
idea.
But anyway, that's where it is. And so he's like peeking in, looking at her office, and then like looking around. And he looks at me, and I'm like, I don't know where she's at. So he's running around trying to find her. I go to the bathroom, and then I come out of the bathroom, and he's still running around trying to find her. And he's like, I don't know where she's at. And I'm like, I don't know where she's at. Don't look at me. I am not her keeper. And then he just looks at me again. And I'm like, you have to remember, she keeps my ducks in a row, not the other way around.
He got her.
Yeah, you're right. Been there a whole 3 weeks. They already know how this thing works.
Like, got it. Solid.
And then so the aftermath of that, by the way, is that he does eventually find me, and he goes, okay, he goes, I just need you to know, he goes, I need you to start leaving your schedule with Bailey. And I was like, what? I was like, what? You do realize that's not going to help you, right? And he goes, you guys are literally the same person. And I look at him and I'm like, that's not true. I'm more organized than she is. And he just goes, he's like, yeah, okay. He's like, but other than that, you guys are the same person.
Yep.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was just like, yeah, I mean, well, I don't know what to tell you. One of us has to be responsible.
I just think it's so funny. Anytime somebody's looking for you in your office, they'll peek their head in. You're not in there. They immediately turn around and look at me. I'm like, I don't know where she's at.
Like,
I have my own job to do, guys.
No. She's my keeper. I'm not her keeper.
like that's not how this works.
Yeah, apparently not.
Y'all are lucky my butt's in this seat. So honestly, though, I did. So I stayed at a hotel this last week because I just wanted some extra rest and like quiet time and stuff like that. And the company was going to pay for it. So I was like, might as well just get a getaway while also going to work and stuff. So I had to get myself from the hotel to work on time, which doesn't sound like something that's very hard. But have you met me? And there were 2 days that she made it to the office before me, and she has a 30-minute drive, and I only had a 7-minute drive.
Nice. Nice.
And I had to get 2 kids ready in the morning, by the way.
Yep, I did not. Just had to get myself ready.
That is a monumental task in of itself because I
Isn't
mean,
it?
my child gets herself ready. Like she's up. She has two alarms. She knows the first one is okay. If you want to get up, go ahead and get up. The second one is you need to get up and you need to start getting dressed. She will get herself dressed. She will make herself breakfast, and then um, all I have to do is just stand out at the bus stop with her.
Hmm.
That's all I have to do. My work is 8 minutes away. I'm still like in a hurried mess every morning.
It's the ADHD, I
It
swear.
is. And then I was like in a fever sleeping in, and then I was like, it's 7:10. What's that sound? It's the bus driving past the house. And then I run outside and I'm like, Savannah, I think you missed the bus. She goes, I know. And she's standing at the
I
door with
know.
with her backpack on. And she's just ready to go. She's like, I know.
Yeah, I don't think she has ADHD.
Yeah.
My daughter, on the other hand, complete opposite. She is an absolute mess in the morning, just like me, and I'm pretty sure she has ADHD. And the two of us ADHD in the morning, man, it's rough.
Two peas in a pod.
I'll be telling her, get dressed. I
Who's
go get
driving this
dressed.
bus? I don't know, but we're going somewhere.
I I come back and she's literally done absolutely nothing. I'm like, girl, we gotta go. I need you to get dressed. Put your pants on. Put your shoes on. I go downstairs, get her lunch ready. She's standing at the top of the stairs, half naked. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I forgot what you told me to do.
I hate to break it to you, but I really do think she has ADHD
I think
because that
she
is
does.
me with you.
I really think she does.
Bailey, we gotta go. Where's your pants? Ah!
I don't know where my pants are.
Ah!
She was Bailey. Well, okay. What was it that happened the other day that I literally, it was on Friday. She was sitting at her desk and something happened, and I was like, you were a mess. I said that to her at
You-
least like 3 times that
Also,
day.
you told me I was a mess on Friday like 4 or 5 times, so I can't pinpoint which time because I was a mess on Friday.
She totally was. Like oh, what was it? Oh, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do for lunch. So, rule of thumb with me. I will gladly drive wherever the heck we need to go, but don't make me pick. Don't make me pick what I'm eating. Don't make me pick like where. No, just don't make me make decisions. So I literally make decisions for a living. So we're trying to figure out lunch, and she goes, "Okay." She's like, "Are you in the mood for anything specific?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Just tell me where we're gonna eat lunch." I was like, "I'll figure out what I want." So I walk away and I go meet with my team, and I come back and I go, "So lunch? Did you figure it out?" And she goes, "No, I don't know what I want." And I'm just like, "You are such a mess."
That was Thursday, not Friday.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those days. And I'm just like, you're such a mess, you know that? And then she's just like, I know. So then literally by the end of that conversation, I wind up picking lunch. And I'm just
She did. And I said, sounds great. Let's go.
Let's do it.
and then I drove to lunch.
And
Yep.
you guys reminded me that I have literally forgotten the one task that I was in charge of today. I woke up and Casey goes, "Hey, I just need you to clean your stuff off the table because it's all like my pictures and stuff on the table. He's like, just clean it off. That's all I need you to do today." And then I went downstairs and saw that my cat had dragged the bookmark out of my book. So I was like, "Oh, I need to find where I was." And so I
Yeah.
sit down, I'm like, "Here I am." And then the next thing I know, I'm like 3 chapters in. like just to reading. And then my husband comes downstairs. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You gave me all day." And he's like, "Yeah, I did give you all day." I'm like, "You gave me all day. I
All
still
day.
haven't even eaten yet. I just started reading." And then before I know it, it's like 3 hours. I'm like, I need to get coffee and something to eat. So I like make myself something. I'm looking at the table. I'm like, I've got all day. And so I
I've got all
sit
day,
down to
it's
do it.
fine.
And now here I am at 7:20 and the table's still a mess. I had all day, you guys.
ADHD, man, I tell you. It's bad.
So, in terms of sleep deprivation, as you can tell, it affects the 2 ADHD people very heavily.
It's bad.
That's what we were talking about. Yes, you're right.
versus the anxiety-ridden one is like fueled on rocket fuel right now.
It doesn't
But-
help that I'm drinking caffeine at 7:20 at night. So
Yeah, this was full of coffee. Now it's not.
yeah,
Monster. I got Monster in here.
literally Bugby tells me, she goes, yeah, she's like, so I think I'm actually gonna leave fairly early tomorrow. And then like right now she's like, yeah, I'm drinking a Monster at 7:30 at night. I'm looking at her at this point going,
Let's see how
Uh-huh.
this goes.
yeah. So really in terms of sleep deprivation though, for me specifically, like with anxiety, I like it's weird because it just triggers insomnia for me, which for me, I will deal with the sleep deprivation. I won't be happy about it, and I definitely won't wake up until 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. But I mean, the truth is that I can function just fine. At least I think I can. Whether I actually can, probably not,
To
but
be
I think I'm
debated.
functioning. There was actually a really interesting thing that I wanted to bring up for this episode because I've been seeing it a lot in my feed lately. So, with a sleeping routine for me, just so you guys know kind of how I go about my and dealing with my sleep deprivation, I am one of those people that set like 5 alarms. So here we go in terms of our disclaimer here. We are not healthcare professionals or mental health
Nowhere
professionals.
close.
Nowhere close. And yes, we are going to segue into Astarian for a little bit. So one
Every
of the ways every episode.
I know.
So one of the
Rebecca, what's in your hand?
Astarian.
Astarian. I
Yeah.
have a cord.
I was playing with his hair and his ears.
Wait, are you ever going to bring that to me?
We'll see. We'll see.
Anyways, okay. So in terms of sleep cycle for me, my biggest thing about my sleep pattern is I will go to bed. It will take me about 3 hours before I fall asleep. Now, my biggest struggle is actually getting myself to bed in order to try to start falling asleep. So by the time I finally wind down from my night enough to convince myself to go to bed, it's like 10:30 at night. So then I'm up for roughly an additional 3 hours, which then puts me to sleep around like 1 a.m., sometimes 2 to 3. And then I wake up at 5:30 or 6 a.m., depending on the day. I am the type of person that I have to set multiple alarms during the day. And where Astarian kicks in this is all of my alarms are Astarian waking me up. So
They are. Hand
and-
out.
yes, and they progressively get more aggressive as the alarms get closer to the
They
time
sure
I
do.
have to
I just
wake
imagine him
up.
standing there just like tapping his foot, his arms are crossed.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yeah. So the first Astarian alarm that wakes me up in the morning is him literally just soft kind of whispering in your ear, some beautiful background music to it where it's just like, hello beautiful, time to wake up. And then all of a sudden the next one gets a little more aggressive of, okay, you need to get up. And then the third one is like literally one of his lines in that alarm is, I don't need you dying, get up. It's just like, and then the fourth one, unfortunately, I can't actually say what he actually says, but literally the fourth one is, get the fork up. Like, it's just like,
And that's where he's standing there
Yeah.
crossing his arms, tapping his foot.
yes, exactly. So then by that point, you know I'm up because when Astarian's yelling at me, I'm just like, okay, fine, I'm sorry. I'm
Fine,
up.
sorry.
So, but part of my actual morning routine, in order to kind of wake myself up and get myself prepped for the day and my mind kind of going, I actually watch inspirational kind of videos on my Facebook Reels. And it's a lot of like leadership advice, a lot of just like mental health advice kind of thing. And one of the biggest things that I found out, which I thought would be super interesting to bring up for this episode, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of like the kind of coach, I guess, that sorry, I was trying to figure out the word, but the
Like a
advice coach that was giving it, or
Oh.
author, basically what she was saying was that what I do with my alarms is actually the worst thing you could possibly do. And if you actually read up on this, it actually is true, because knowing me and the way my brain works, then I wind up going down the rabbit hole of research. So the worst thing that you can do is actually snooze your alarm and then go back to sleep. Because what happens in your brain when that takes place is you wind up entering back into a sleep cycle. So when your alarm goes off, what you should be doing is immediately getting out of bed, because at that point you avoid setting yourself back into a sleep cycle. What happens when you wind up snoozing your alarm and you go back to sleep, and then your alarm's going off like 15 minutes later, you're interrupting your sleep cycle. And the problem is that with the human brain, it takes about 60 to 90 minutes for a sleep cycle to complete. So when you're interrupting your sleep cycle, it completely throws off your entire day, because your sleep cycle never completes. And so that actually winds up making you more tired every single time you snooze your alarm. And every single time that sleep cycle gets interrupted, it actually doesn't reflect how badly you've slept. Because honestly, if you wind up getting up on your first alarm, you'll actually notice that, yes, the first couple times you do it, it kind of sucks, but you'll realize that you're actually more energized throughout the day, because you didn't wind up setting yourself back up into a sleep cycle. When you're constantly snoozing your alarm, you set your mind back into a sleep cycle, and then it doesn't actually wake itself up until 3 to 4 hours later. And then you wind up being tired, you wind up dragging your feet, you're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep very well last night. No, the reality is you did actually sleep very well. You just chose to set yourself into a sleep cycle, and now you got 6 hours before you actually wake up.
Why are you coming after me like this?
I would say I have a whole perspective on this.
I feel so attacked right now.
Which actually is very true, because the kind of person that I am, when I do that with my alarms, that's the whole reason I don't start feeling awake until like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, is because my sleep cycle finally completes. And then by 2 p.m. in the afternoon, I'm like, oh, I feel great. We can take on the world now. It's just
Okay.
like,
But see, this is how I go about handling that. I have found my sleep cycle runs in about a 90-minute interval. And I have found that out because I take naps. And I know when I lay down and take a nap, it's going to be an hour and a half later and I'm going to wake up. Am I going to get up from that nap? Maybe, maybe not, but it's going to be an hour and a half. So, knowing that my sleep cycle is an hour and a half, I will tell myself, you know, if I get 3 hours of sleep, that's enough. That's 2 sleep cycles. We're good. And that's
yeah, please don't follow that advice.
that's how my brain works.
Please
got
don't
people-
follow that advice. That is horrible advice.
I didn't say it was advice. I said that's how my brain works.
Again, we are not mental health professionals by any means.
Nope.
And that right there just proved it.
But
We
I
just
will make
vibing.
sure I'll make sure when I go to bed and when my alarm is going to go off, it's going to end up in that 90-minute interval. And if it won't, I will force myself to stay awake until I'm in that night in that time frame.
So, okay, now here's a good question for you. And this is actually something that kind of intrigued me based off of that story, is how did you actually come to find how long your sleep cycle takes to process?
Well, because I am a consistent napper, I have found that when I do lay down and take a nap, I consistently wake up an hour and a half later.
So what does that say for people that like literally take 3-hour naps?
Then their sleep cycles
They're
3
just
hours,
sleepy.
or they just they can't wake up at the end of a single sleep cycle. I'm not a professional. I don't know the science behind it. I have just found that for me, when I lay down and take a nap, I consistently wake up an hour and a half later.
Huh.
And that is what I perceive after, because you've told me this whole sleep cycle thing before. I'm like, my sleep cycle's 90 minutes. So now I base my nightly sleep off of making sure I'm going to wake up at the end of a sleep cycle. And it doesn't matter if I get 3 hours of sleep, 5.5 hours of sleep, but I make sure it's at the end. Or that wouldn't be 5.5, it'd be 4.5 or 6. Math is hard. But
Yeah.
But I make sure that it's 4.5 is never a thing. It's either 3 or 6 generally. But I make sure that my wake up time is going to be the end of that sleep cycle. And honestly, it has actually helped me. It's a little bit easier to get up in the morning if I make sure that I'm going to be at the end of the sleep cycle when my alarm goes off.
Huh.
As weird as it sounds.
Okay, so I literally, because we're actually on our computers
I
for
would say, did
this,
you just Google it?
I just Googled it. Apparently, there's
Google
such a thing as,
strikes again.
apparently there's such a thing as a sleep calculator.
Oh.
Because this whole thing like legitimately intrigued me. Here, I am actually going to share my screen. And just FYI, I have not read this yet, so do not knock me for not knowing what this says, okay? Let's see here. All right. Here we go. So, yeah, apparently there is a way to like measure your sleep quality and then like how much sleep do you need. So, okay, hold on. Okay, so young adults, apparently we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I can barely manage 7, let alone
If I get 6, that's a good day.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
then we know
Like
we vibing.
yeah. Okay, so now the question is like, okay, so how do you know if you've gotten enough sleep? Okay, so tips right here on how you know if you've gotten enough sleep. Benefit of a good night's sleep. This is a lot of reading.
You're the one who Googled it.
I know. I got really curious. Okay, so hold on. Here's a sleep calculator. Let's see if we can figure this out. Holy, okay.
It's very, very tiny on our screen.
I know, I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? I am actually going to try to figure out my sleep cycle using this at some point, but not right now.
I don't know. I just figured it out from. I will say, even I might not get very much sleep at night, but like I said, I am a consistent napper. Not everybody can nap, and I understand that. That's just something that's different for everybody. I can nap and still go to bed. Generally, okay, but that's just me.
Yeah, see, I'm not like that, which is actually why I got so curious on the point of the whole sleep cycle thing because I've never been able to gauge that because that's the other half of me. I'm not a napper. I do not take naps well.
Neither do I.
No,
I'm not a
because
napper.
and honestly, that's my anxiety side of things is because I'm always like, well, there's like a million other things I could be doing besides taking a nap. I already
Yeah.
have to sleep at night. Like I'm just like
Yeah,
Nah, I'm like,
I convince myself that a nap is a waste of time
yes,
and
me
that like
too.
I could be reading, I could be playing video games, I could be doing, so many
Yes.
other things.
Yes. To
nope.
me, it's nope. To me, it is that I'm like, I already have to spend like part of my night sleeping. I do not need to be doing it during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if I
Yeah,
actually do take a nap, I'm exhausted. Sorry, go on.
exactly.
no, you're fine.
I'm exactly the same way. Like if I am napping, I have hit the end of my like go mode. I'm just like, nope, I'm dead to the world because I'm tired.
I would say Adela experienced this a couple weeks ago when I stayed with her and I was working. It was actually my first week at the new job. And I was just so exhausted from learning new things, learning new system, interacting with new people, having to be more social than I'm used to. Um, it was very draining for me. And there were 2 nights that I took a nap and I still slept fine like at
Yep.
night.
Can vouch she did. And you know what happened when she took a nap? I left and went to go play video games. I was like, nope, bye.
You did.
She found me later upstairs in my
I
office.
did. I found her. But I was like, my eyes were so heavy to the point that they were starting to hurt. And I was like, I can't force myself to be awake another, I don't know,
Yeah.
4 hours. Like, I need to take a nap. So I took a nap.
See, I have to admit, I think this is one of the episodes where I actually don't really have advice on this topic or really how I deal with it because the truth is, I don't. I really don't. Like, I mean, I guess, like, truthfully, like, I try really hard to do, like, self care things, but, like, even that night, like, when Red Rebecca and I were talking about it, where she was like, we talked about this, you need to go to
Yeah.
sleep. And, like, even then, I stayed up and
Yeah.
still continued to read some more. And then eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, my eyelids are officially closing on me. And I was like falling asleep with the phone in my hand, that I was like,
Mhm.
okay, time to put this away. And I
Yeah.
have to hit that point in order for me to fall asleep. So, and since I don't take naps, I really don't know, like, because what I do, 100% unhealthy. I do not advise it to anybody. I really don't. But to be honest, I don't really know like how else to deal with it. And it's definitely something that my therapist is heavily working with me on, because she's like, you need sleep.
Go
I'm
to
just
bed.
like, well, do I?
Do I
Do
need
I
it to
know?
function?
It's
Yes, you
Do
do.
I
fine.
really need it? It's just
Like,
like,
trying
yeah.
to
So,
do.
in all honesty, I think this is like the first time I can't really like advise as to how I overcome that, because I haven't gotten to that point yet. And
Yeah, I don't have any advice on it either. I
Talk
mean,
to your
I've tried.
therapist.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I I have tried several things to help me sleep, and unfortunately I struggle with insomnia. Everybody in my family does. It's just a hereditary thing for us. And sometimes I'm not stressed or worried or anxious or anything. I just can't sleep.
yeah.
And it's ridiculous. I'll be laying there and I'm like, go to sleep. And I'm like, not falling asleep. I'm like, come on, go to sleep. Not
Like,
happening.
nah, man.
I've tried several medications. There was one that worked really well for me, but then I had to change my. I, I think it was when I started my ADHD medication. I had to stop taking my sleeping medication because they could have a bad interaction. Um, so at that point, now I don't have anything to help me sleep.
I
But
did try melatonin at one point, but then it got so bad that I was like taking more than the recommended amount. And then I was like, this isn't healthy. I'm going to find a different
yeah,
alternative. Like, it's just,
I can literally take 60, 70, 80 milligrams of melatonin
yep,
and
yep,
go to work.
yeah.
It does absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely
okay,
nothing.
so that's the opposite of me. Okay, when I said yep, I thought you were going to say like that's how much it takes. No, that is how much it takes for me to fall asleep.
No, it
It's
does
like-
absolutely nothing for me.
yeah, no, it does. Yeah, nope. It is like I literally got to that point and I was like, this is unhealthy. I'm done. So
And
yeah, I was like,
it's funny because it doesn't do anything for my daughter either. It doesn't work for
yeah,
her.
nope, it does for
It's
yeah, it knocks
Hmm.
me out.
I've
it's
never
just
tried
a
it.
hereditary thing with us.
In those dosages, it knocks me out, I should say. Yeah. Oh, by the way, do not recommend doing that. Don't try that at home.
Yeah, I tried two different sleeping medications. I can't remember what the first one was called, but I had terribly vivid dreams. Like you would think I was on some kind of not legal drugs. Like I would be spinning in a tornado, but that would be like a rainbow tornado.
Oh, at least it's pretty.
I mean, it was always very pretty. It was never like a nightmare per
She
se,
was a
but
fairy.
yeah, I would wake up and I'd be, where am I? What is happening? Um,
Oh,
so that one I couldn't take, and then I took Ambien for a while, and that one's I've heard some people do not do well on. However, it worked really well for me, but I can't take it with my ADHD medication. So
Mm.
so here's the really funny thing about this. So actually, I do I guess like one of the ways that I did kind of try to counteract like my sleep deprivation was I gave myself a goal. I know, shocker. Adela over here gives herself a goal. So actually, one of the things that I really wanted to do, and we can blame this on my nerd stuff again, because I had just, at the time, I had just finished Sandman or The Sandman on Netflix. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach myself how to lucid dream. And so I've done really great with the dream journaling part of it. And lucid dreaming, in order to teach yourself how to do that, is a whole process in and of itself. Which luckily I'm at a point where I can remember my dreams more vividly now. And so I actually have like really good recollection of what goes on in my dreams, because I consistently have been doing the dream journaling. What isn't consistent, and it's one of the biggest key factors of lucid dreaming is you have to be on a sleep schedule. And so that's the part I've been struggling with, but I'm still
Yeah.
working towards it. And I'm happy to say that I at least can get to myself to bed at 10:30 every night. So as long as I do that, I'm noticing I'm still falling asleep between and now it's actually getting a little bit easier for me. I'm falling asleep between midnight and 1 o'clock. Before it used to be I would lay in bed and I'd be awake until 3 a.m. Now it's at least midnight and 1 o'clock. But I do also think that's in combination with my therapy, because my therapist has given me like little techniques here and there to help calm my mind. And then it also works in conjunction with my training for lucid dreaming. So that was kind of that might be my advice, is at least like talk to your therapist about it. And then in my case, I set a goal for myself, but I'm very goal oriented. So that's nothing new. And then, maybe wake up to Astarian.
Whatever helps you get up in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
As with everything, everybody is different, and something different is going to work for everybody. I mean, Adele and I are a lot alike in a lot of ways, but our brains and our like makeup of ourselves, not makeup that we put on, but like how we are made physically and our chemistry, we are very different people
Yep.
in that aspect.
Yup.
Different things work for us.
Yep.
Generally the opposite thing. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I think honestly, on that note, we are going to wrap up this episode, because truthfully, we don't really have a lot of advice on this topic, and we really don't want to give bad advice. So
Fair.
overall, the really big thing about it is that, you're not alone in dealing with sleep deprivation. Really, my biggest recommendation that I could make with this, and I think all three of us can agree to this, is talk to a therapist about it, see ways that you can help kind of figure out how to get a better sleep schedule. I know I'm one to talk because I currently don't have a better sleep schedule, but I am working on it. So really just obviously focus on yourself, because sleep, as much as we kind of are like making fun of ourselves on this one, sleep is a very important part of your day. And truthfully, if you really aren't getting the right amount of sleep, your brain tends to wind up getting to a point where you get stuck in survival mode, which unfortunately is the place that I'm at right now. So really focus on yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to do some research on kind of different things to do. Obviously, don't do anything harmful to knock yourself out, but at the end of the day, don't be afraid to try different things to maybe try to help you get to sleep. And you'd be surprised to see how well that may or may not work out for you. And then you can eliminate things based on a process. So just wanted to let you guys know that this was a very just light topic of fun, but hopefully you guys got something out of it. Now that you all know that there's a sleep calculator out there, hopefully by the next episode I will have gone through the sleep calculation and we will know what Adela's sleep cycle is. But with that being the case, I just want you all to remember,
You are never alone.
You are never alone.
You are always loved. I messed it up. It's
let's
fine.
try that again. Always remember,
You are loved.
You are never alone.
and this is just us being us.
Of course,
You do realize that stays